So the Xfinity season is now underway. This will be the final season that Xfinity will be the title sponsor for the series. As it was announced a couple weeks ago, they would not renew contract as a title sponsor, but they would remain active in NASCAR as a major contingency sponsor. As of right now, remains to be seen who the next title sponsor will be, but speculation is that Busch Beer could return to reassume that role, and that series will go back to the good old Busch series, but nothing has been confirmed yet. This was also the first race for new network, the CW. They had already announced last year they would take over the entire Xfinity schedule for 2025 and beyond. Now, I don't normally voice my thoughts regarding the broadcasting and the criticisms that I have, because we all know where we stand on that. Fox is terrible, and NBC, well, it's an upgrade in quality, has kind of stagnated, and after Dale Jr.'s departure, a drop in quality is to be expected. The CW just blew both of them out of the water. And I'm not just saying that because they were the ones who picked Junior up. That definitely helps, but their commercials, pre-race, presentation, their ease of access, because their app is free to download and you can watch their races for free on the app from start to finish. This is not an endorsement, by the way. I'm just saying how amazing their coverage was for this race. And of course, their commentary and broadcasting was a breath of fresh air, especially compared to Jamie Little's play-by-play for both the truck race last night and the ARCA race earlier today on Fox. And again, no disrespect to her, but some commentators are just not built to do play-by-play. I'm sorry. Now, as for the race itself, it started off pretty slow. It took about 45 minutes for the 30-lap Stage 1 to be completed, despite only one of the cautions being for a multi-car wreck. And this has kind of been a trend I've noticed throughout the weekend, where yellow flag periods tend to waste a couple more laps than usual, especially if it's for an on-track incident for a spin or a wreck that happens early in the race. We saw it in the duels, we saw it in the truck race, we even saw it in ARCA, even though I didn't watch the latter because I just knew it would be a wreck fest by looking at the tweets and social media posts from other fellow users. I was proven right. I didn't watch the ARCA race, but even I know that those early wrecks, there was like some long caution periods between those wrecks. Other than that, though, the race was pretty quiet. The field was single file up front for a good portion of the first half, with the outside lane being preferred for most of the race, which didn't surprise me. Again, the exit of turn 4 has been calamity all weekend so far, especially if you're on the bottom lane. And while the inside lane was able to work, the most these guys could do was just break even, and even in the rare instance someone got the lead on the bottom, they immediately moved up top because that's where most of the energy was. This gave Austin Hill free reign over the rest of the field, cruising to a sweep of the stages. Although, again, who knows what would have happened if that caution to end stage 2 for the Nick Sanchez wreck didn't come out. Unfortunately, though, Hill would suffer an engine issue early in stage 3 that would take him out of contention. And speaking of stage 3, we got our first "what the fuck are you doing" moment of the season. Because during green flag pit stops, Chris Wright just came down pit road, and I don't know how many miles per hour. I want to say 140, 150. But again, I'm not so sure. But he absolutely rammed the shit out of Josh Bilicki. Now, I initially assumed that it was a brake failure because I refuse to believe a NASCAR driver will be that reckless. But no. While he said that he got brake issues, he also stated that that was not the cause of the accident. Rather, he blamed it on a miscommunication with his spotter. So Chris Wright just threw his own spotter under the bus, and even the booth was flabbergasted. Parker Kligerman, I believe, even pointed out that the spotter is not the one doing the driving and hitting the brake pedal or somewhere on the lines of that. And even if you believe there was some miscommunication and the spotter messed up, you still can't use that as a valid excuse. You should still be able to see the line of cars slowing down in front of you entering pit road. That was one of the biggest ARCA breaks moments I've ever seen. It goes to show, you can take Chris Wright out of ARCA, but you will never be able to take the ARCA out of Chris Wright. I believe I said it in a video where I was ranking every single off-season move that teams made entering 2025. I said that our motorsports are replacing Anthony Alfredo with Chris Wright. That was the worst move of the offseason. I believe I even gave it an F rank. And shit like this is doing nothing but proving me right, unfortunately. I'm just saying, it would have been better for everyone if he just said his brakes failed and left it at that. And looking at the replay, it was an absolute miracle. Only Chris himself and Beliki were the only two guys involved, because it could have been way worse, given that this happened on pit road and there were several cars bunched up together. But anyways, the final laps feature a revolving door of drivers fighting for the lead. Between those being Jesse Love, Connor Silage, Sheldon Creed, and Taylor Gray. Unfortunately, a bad block from Creed with 2 laps to go caused a stack up in the middle lane that ended with Connor Silage getting wrecked out, as well as Ekes, Retzlaff, and Sowalic. This sent the race into overtime, no doubt the first of many this season, sadly. And lo and behold, we had another wreck coming to the line to take the white flag. And for a split second, I thought the caution was thrown the moment cars started going sideways, and that this would have been 3 consecutive days of NASCAR officiating controversies. But thankfully, NASCAR at least waited until the leader took the white flag and then threw the caution immediately. So Jesse Love, because if it's not Austin Hill, it's his teammate, Jesse Love gives RCR yet another super speedway win and starts his sophomore season off on a high note by checking off that big box out of the way. And he also locks himself in the playoffs. And yes, this win is official, and good thing too, because if he failed inspection, that would have meant another second place finish for Sheldon Creed, because Creed finished 3rd behind Jesse Love and his teammate Sam Mayer. So that was a pretty fun race, even if the finish was a bit underwhelming. But this race has such 2000s vibes, from the commentary to the graphics to the on-track action. Clearly the aging Daytona surface is starting to bring out the best of these Xfinity cars and their super speedway package. As individual driver skill was a bit more on display, the cars were more spread out, especially towards the end. Man, this race was just vintage NASCAR. And again, the CW, they hit a home run with choosing the Xfinity Series for the full season. The best series with the best network. And yeah, I know it's just one race, but like I said, they have already blown Fox out of the water. And if they fix the issues with the camera quality, they might even surpass NBC as well. Hopefully, they give Xfinity the final send-off they deserve after 11 years of being a title sponsor. But so far, they made a great first impression.